Book of Heaven, Volume 4. 6th to the 26th of January 1902. Page 103 to 109. January 6, 1902. Portentous effects of uniting our lives with that of Jesus. A few words about death. As I was in my usual state, after much waiting, my most loving Jesus came for a little while, and placing himself near me, told me, "My daughter, one who tries to conform to my life in everything, does nothing other than add one more and distinct fragrance to everything I did in my life, in such a way as to perfume heaven and the whole church, and even the evil themselves feel this celestial fragrance flow." This is so true, that all the saints are nothing other than many fragrances, and are that which most cheers the church and heaven, because they are distinct among themselves. Not only this, but if one tries to continue my life by doing what I did wherever he can, and where he cannot, at least with the desire and the intention, I keep it in my hands as if I were continuing my whole life in that soul, not as something past, but as if I were now living. This is a treasure in my hands, because as I double the treasure of everything I operated, I dispose it for the good of the whole of mankind. So, would you not want to be one of these? I saw myself all confused and did not know what to answer, and Jesus disappeared from me. But a little later he came back, and I also saw many people who greatly feared death. On seeing this, I said, "My lovable Jesus, it must be a defect in me, this not fearing death. I see that others fear it so much, while to me, instead, thinking only that death will unite me with you forever and will put an end to the martyrdom of my hard separation, the thought of death not only gives no fear, but is of relief. It gives me peace and I make feast, disregarding all the other consequences which death brings with itself." And Jesus, "Daughter, in truth, that extravagant fear of dying is foolishness, when one has all my merits, virtues and works as passport in order to enter heaven, since I made a donation of it to everyone. Those who have added from their own, then, profit even more from this donation of mine. And with all this substance, what fear can one have of death? Rather, with this most safe passport the soul can enter wherever she wants, and out of regard for her passport, everyone respects her and lets her pass. As for you, then, your not fearing death at all comes from your having dealt with me, and having experienced how sweet and dear is the union with the highest good. Know, however, that the most pleasing homage that can be offered to me, is desiring to die in order to be united with me. This is the most beautiful disposition in order for the soul to be purged and to pass straight on, with no interval, through the way of heaven." Having said this, he disappeared. January 11, 1902. In order to be perfect, love must be triple. The law of divorce. This morning, having received Holy Communion, I saw my adorable Jesus for a little while, and as soon as I saw him, I said to him, "My sweet good, tell me, do you continue to love me?" And he, "Yes, but I am loving and jealous, jealous and loving." Even more, I tell you that in order to be perfect, love must be triple, and in me there are these triple conditions of love. First, I love you as Creator, as Redeemer and as Lover. Second, I love you in my omnipotence which I used in creating you, and in creating everything for love of you, in such a way that air, water, fire, and everything else, tell you that I love you and that I made them for love of you. I love you as my image, and I love you out of regard for you individually. Third, I love you ab aeterno, from eternity, I love you in time, and I love you for all eternity. And this is nothing but a breath that came out of my love. Imagine, yourself, what must be the love I contain within myself. Now, you are obliged to return to me this triple love, loving me as your God in whom you must fix all of yourself, and let nothing come out of you which is not love for me. Loving me out of regard for yourself and for the good that comes to you, and loving me for all, and in all. After this, he transported me outside of myself, and I found myself in the midst of many people who were saying, "If this law is confirmed, poor woman, everything will turn out bad for her." All were anxiously waiting to hear the pros and the cons, and in another separate place many people could be seen who were discussing among themselves. One of them took the floor and reduced everyone to silence. Then after much struggling, he went out the door and said, "Yes indeed, in favor of the woman." On hearing this, all those who were outside made feast, and those who were inside remained all confused, so much so, that they did not have the courage even to go out. I believe that this is the law of divorce which they are talking about, and I understood that they did not confirm it. January 12, 1902. The blindness of men. Jesus speaks about divorce. Contradictions are precious pearls. It seems that my adorable Jesus continues to come a little bit. This morning, then, transporting me outside of myself, he showed me the great evils of society, and his great bitternesses, and he poured into me, abundantly, part of what embittered him. Then he said to me, "My daughter, see now where the blindness of men has reached, to the point of wanting to make laws which are iniquitous and go against themselves and their own social welfare. My daughter, this is why I am calling you to sufferings again, so that, as you offer yourself with me to divine justice, those who must fight this law of divorce may obtain light and efficacious grace in order to be victorious. My daughter, I tolerate that they make wars and revolutions, and that the blood of the new martyrs inundate the world. This is an honor for me and for my church. But this brutal law is an affront to my church, and it is abominable and intolerable to me." Now, while he was saying this, I saw a man who was fighting against this law, tired and exhausted in his strengths, in the act of wanting to withdraw from the enterprise. So, together with the Lord, we encouraged him, and he answered, "I see myself almost fighting alone, and unable to obtain the intent." And I said to him, "Courage, for contradictions are as many pearls which the Lord will use to adorn you in heaven." And he took heart and continued the enterprise. After this, I saw someone else, all weary and concerned, not knowing what to decide, and someone saying to him, "Do you know what you should do? Get out of Rome." And he, "No, I cannot. This is the word given to my Father. I will lay down my life, but as for getting out, never." Afterwards, we withdrew. Jesus disappeared, and I found myself inside myself. January 14, 1902. One is not worthy of Jesus if he does not empty himself of everything. What true exaltation consists of. As I was in my usual state, my adorable Jesus came and told me, "My daughter, only one who has emptied himself of everything and has filled himself completely with me can be truly worthy of me, in such a way as to make of himself an object of divine love alone, to the point that my love must come to form his life, and he must love me, not with his love, but with my own love." Then he added, "What do these words mean? He has cast down the mighty from their thrones and has lifted up the lowly." That the soul, destroying herself completely, fills all of herself with God, and as she loves God with God himself, God exalts the soul to an eternal love. This is the true and greatest exaltation, and also true humility. Then he continued, "The true sign to know whether one possesses this love is that the soul cares about nothing but loving God, making him known, and making everyone love him." Then, as he withdrew in my interior, I heard him pray, saying, "Ever holy and indivisible Trinity, I adore you profoundly, I love you intensely, I thank you perpetually, for all and in the hearts of all." And I went on in this way, hearing him pray almost continuously inside of me, and I with him. January 25, 1902. The fever of love makes the soul take flight toward heaven. Sweet reproach of Jesus. This morning, after I went through much hardship, my adorable Jesus came, and as soon as I saw him, I said to him, "My beloved good, I can bear no more, take me with you to heaven once and for all, or remain forever with me on this earth." And he, "Let me observe a little bit where the fever of your love has reached." In fact, just as the natural fever, when it reaches a high degree, has the virtue of consuming the body and of making it die, in the same way, the fever of love, if it reaches an extremely high degree, has the virtue of melting the body and of making the soul take flight even unto heaven. And while saying this, he took my heart in his hands as though to visit it, and he continued, "My daughter, the intensity of the fever of love has not reached that point. It takes a little more." Then he made the act of wanting to pour his bitternesses into me, but I did not say anything to him, and he, almost reproaching me, added sweetly, "Don't you know your duty? that the first thing you should do on seeing me is to check whether there is something in me that afflicts me and embitters me, and to pray me to pour it upon you. This is true love, to suffer the pains of the beloved, so as to be able to see the loved one fully content. Feeling ashamed, I said, Lord, pour. And he poured and disappeared. January 26, 1902. The Queen Mama is enriched with the three prerogatives of the Most Holy Trinity. This morning, while I was in my usual state, I saw an endless light before me, and I comprehended that in that light dwelled the Most Holy Trinity. I also saw the Queen Mama before that light. She was all absorbed in the Most Holy Trinity, and she absorbed all three divine persons within herself, in such a way as to be enriched with the three prerogatives of the Sacrosanct Trinity, which are power, wisdom and charity. And just as God loves mankind as part of himself, and as a particle that came out of him, and he ardently desires that this part of himself return into himself, so does the Queen Mama, by participating in this, love mankind with passionate love. Now, while comprehending this, I saw the confessor, and I prayed the Most Holy Virgin to intercede with the Most Holy Trinity for him. She bowed, taking my prayer to the throne of God, and I saw that from the divine throne a flow of light came out, which covered the confessor completely, and I found myself inside myself.